Once a year, the world holds its breath for the festival of the descending gods. It's a sacred day where the heavens touch the earth, and those turning 15 are granted a divine blessing, a gift that defines their entire future. For Gio, today is that day. He's up early, dragging his sister Senna out of bed. While she begs for 5 more minutes, Gio reminds her that their destiny is waiting. Senna is as spoiled as they come, grumbling about Gio being a pervert for pulling her blankets. But Gio knows they can't be late for the prayer if they want to secure a high-tier gift. The two are siblings despite being the same age, though Gio was born a few months earlier. Since their father, a legendary adventurer, passed away 10 years ago, they've had only each other to rely on. As they head to the clearing, the weight of the moment settles in. Only the gods know what kind of power they will receive today, and the anticipation is nerve-wracking. Gio's heart is set on adventuring. He dreams of a gift for combat, strength, or exploration, anything that will let him follow in his father's footsteps and protect those he loves. Senna just has a feeling that Gio will get something incredible. She's content to support him in whatever path he takes, as long as they can stay together. The custom is simple: pray as the sun rises. As the first light hits the horizon, the gods bestow their gifts. Everyone in the village is already deep in prayer, hands clasped tight. Gio clenches his eyes shut, his heart hammering against his ribs. "Please, God," he whispers, "give me a gift useful for adventuring." Senna is the first to receive hers. She looks stunned, revealing her gift is the favor of the sword god. Gio is ecstatic. It's a rare, top-tier combat gift. Now it's Gio's turn. He's ready to become a legend. He's ready for the power to change his life. But when the notification finally appears, time seems to stop. The words "home garden" float in front of him. Gio's face falls into a mask of pure despair. A gardening skill? For an aspiring adventurer, this is a death sentence to his dreams. The mockery is instant. Annie bursts into laughter, unable to believe Gio got stuck with such a useless, domestic gift. Even Sifa, their childhood friend, looks on with concern. Sifa tries to be kind, reminding Gio that gifts are only as good as the people who use them. She believes that if he learns to use it well, it could still be handy. Sifa and Annie are already established adventurers. Sifa, in particular, possesses the Empress's authority, a rare gift that has already marked her as a superior talent in the guild. Annie continues to needle him, pointing out that Gio won't be able to keep up with Sifa now. Gio slumps into a pit of misery, his pride completely shattered. Suddenly, a massive boom echoes through the air. A system window flashes. A garden has been designated. Right before Gio's eyes, the landscape begins to shift. The soil is impossibly soft and rich. Gio can't believe his eyes. A cultivated field has literally sprung up out of nowhere. This isn't just a skill, it's a physical manifestation. A new prompt appears: Gio's home garden level 1. It shows a progress bar of 0 out of 5 and asks if he would like to start cultivating. The list of available crops is staggering. Wheat, potatoes, tomatoes, all listed as mid-quality. Gio realizes the sheer scale of what he can grow instantly. Senna is back to being Gio's biggest fan. She's convinced that with this gift, he might just be able to take over the world. Sifa and Annie can only stare in blank confusion. When Sifa mentions she'd like to visit their home to see the garden, Gio goes into a full-blown panic. He realizes the house is a mess, and he needs to clean everything immediately. Been a long time since Sifa last came over. Gio is determined to show her the greatest hospitality possible and make her happy during her stay. He worries about disappointing her, but Senna snaps him out of it. She reminds him that Sifa and Annie are genuinely curious about his new garden gift. Senna knows Sifa is always delighted at mealtimes. If Gio treats them to some of the crops from the home garden, there's no doubt they'll be impressed. With a newfound sense of purpose, Gio and Senna get to work. They're going to make the garden look extra great and give their guests a warm welcome they'll never forget. Senna takes a bite of the first harvest and her eyes light up. Even though the texture is like a potato, it's incredibly sweet and flavorful. It's better than anything they've ever tasted. Gio is stunned. The quality of the crops is through the roof. This isn't just gardening, it's high-level alchemy in vegetable form. The garden even seems to boost their spirits. Senna is feeling more motivated than ever, and Gio wonders if the garden has a passive effect on those who eat from it. Suddenly, a level-up notification pings. Gio has learned a new skill by leveling up his garden. The area he can cultivate is expanding, and his power is growing smoothly. Day of the visit arrives. Sifa and Annie stand at the door, looking radiant. Sifa apologizes for taking up their time, but Gio is just happy they're here. Gio is a nervous wreck, thinking to himself that an angel has come to his house. He welcomes them in with a shaky voice, his heart thumping wildly. Annie feels a bit ignored by Gio's intense focus on Sifa, jokingly asking if he wants to die. Gio quickly apologizes, trying to regain his composure. Gio brings out the main course, meat harvested directly from the garden. Annie is skeptical, asking if they're really going to eat meat that grew on a tree. Sifa is intrigued. She's willing to try it, trusting in Gio's gift. Gio is relieved and touched by her faith in him. Sifa smiles warmly, telling Annie there's no need to worry. Since it's a part of Gio's gift, she knows it will be something special. Everyone chips in to help. Sifa offers to cut the meat while Annie handles the vegetables. The atmosphere is lively as they prepare for the barbecue. The meat hits the grill with a satisfying sizzle. The aroma fills the air, and even the skeptics find their mouths watering at the incredible scent. Just about ready. Everyone gathers around the grill, eyes wide with anticipation. The home garden gift is about to prove its worth to everyone. Senna is ready to dig in, but Gio has to remind her to let the guests go first. The feast is about to begin, and Gio's life as a gardener is looking brighter than ever. Standing before a weathered, ivy-covered building, Gio double-checks the location. This eerie house is supposed to be the shop he's looking for, but the atmosphere is anything but welcoming. He gulps, his mind racing with images of hooded, spooky figures. He regrets not asking Senna for more details about the owner before coming here alone. Suddenly, a woman with dark hair and a heavy gaze appears from the shadows. Marlene greets him with a low mutter, noting that she hasn't seen his face around here before. Gio's heart hammers against his chest. For a split second, he genuinely thought he was looking at a zombie, his face pale with shock as he stammers out a greeting. As he calms down, he realizes Marlene perfectly fits the image of someone who would run a shop in an abandoned-looking building like this. The shop is full of surprises, including a boy named Dennis dressed in a maid uniform. Marlene teases him relentlessly, calling him a femboy, while Dennis protests that he's a real boy. Trying to steer the conversation back to business, Gio presents his offering. He heard they were running low on ingredients for healing potions and brought some of his own. The moment Marlene and Dennis see the herbs, their jaws drop. They can't believe the quality of the plants Gio is holding right before their eyes. Marlene examines the leaves, her eyes widening. She's never seen anything this high quality. The herbs are incredibly fresh and practically brimming with mana. With ingredients like these, Marlene realizes she might actually be able to craft high-grade potions, a feat that seemed impossible just moments ago. Gio mentions that Senna and Sifa are regular customers here. He asks if Marlene could prioritize selling potions to their party when they come by. Marlene agrees, but with a bizarre condition. She declares with intense passion that she will be the one to love Dennis first, leaving Gio completely bewildered. Gio leaves the shop feeling a bit dizzy from the encounter. He just hopes Sifa will be pleased with the potions as he heads back to his own sanctuary. Back in his garden, Gio discovers a large, speckled egg nestled among the leaves. He stares at it, wondering what could possibly be inside. He considers the risks. If it hatches into a monster, would he even be able to defeat it? His internal answer is a resounding no, accompanied by a nervous sweat. Just as he decides it's better if it doesn't hatch, the egg begins to wobble. A sudden tremor from within makes his heart skip a beat. It's moving. He gently pets the shell, finding it pleasantly warm. He realizes that as long as he keeps it nurtured, whatever is inside might just be friendly. As the sun sets, Gio sits patiently by the egg. The warmth it radiates feels comforting in the cooling evening air, and he finds himself hoping for a safe Earth. The shell finally cracks, and out pops a tiny, white creature. Gio is instantly smitten, relieved to find a cute companion instead of a terrifying beast. He watches the creature lap up some milk, its white fur reminding him of something pure. He smiles and decides on a perfect name, Milk. Meanwhile, Sifa's party has reached the volcanic area. The heat is oppressive, but they have a mission to complete in this scorched wasteland. Senna is amazed. Despite the lava pools scattered around, she feels cool and refreshed. It seems Gio's ice-cold potions are working better than expected. Their peaceful exploration is cut short as a pack of monsters approaches. Flame dogs, glowing with intense heat, snarl as they close in on the party. Senna doesn't hesitate. She draws her sword and unleashes a powerful slash. To her surprise, the flame dogs fall easily, their fire extinguished by the cold air following her blade. Sifa observes the battle, noting that the potion's effect is incredible. It's as if Senna is attacking with the power of a winter storm in the middle of a volcano. Confident in their new advantage, Sifa declares their next goal. They aren't just here to explore, they are going to conquer the entire volcanic area. Back at the garden, Gio notices a change in his system. His crops, which were previously mid-quality, are now labeled as high-quality. Gulps, imagining the taste. If the mid-quality crops were delicious, these high-quality ones must be on an entirely different level of flavor. Senna returns from the dungeon, looking absolutely exhausted. She trudges toward the house, her only desire being to jump straight into bed. Her fatigue vanishes when she sees Gio and the new addition to their home. She's shocked to see him with a pet, but Milk's cuteness quickly wins her over. Gio promises a reward for their hard work. He's going to use his ace up his sleeve, the high-quality crops, to prepare a feast they'll never forget. The girls show off the spoils of their victory. They've brought back a massive haul of magic stones, proving that the volcanic area was no match for them. Anna brags about how everyone was surprised when they took down the area boss. She feels like a true hero, and her exuberant energy is infectious. The feast begins with a toast to their success. The table is laden with food, and the atmosphere is filled with joy and the clinking of mugs. Annie eyes the hamburger steak, the steam rising from it smelling divine. She takes a bite, her eyes widening as the flavor hits her. The reaction is instantaneous. It's so good it's practically dangerous. Annie starts devouring the meal, unable to stop herself from eating more. Sifa, usually the most composed, is also losing her cool. She admits she wants to keep eating this for eternity, her poker face completely melted by the delicious food. Gio watches them with a mix of pride and concern. He realizes that high-quality crops are beyond dangerous. They have the power to turn even the strongest warriors into gluttons. Senna is in pure bliss, the tender meat and crisp onions creating a perfect harmony. She's already asking for seconds, her heart as full as her stomach. The day ends on a high note. With a new pet, high-quality crops, and a successful dungeon run, Gio's life as a gardener is reaching heights he never imagined. Day ends on a high note. With a new pet, high-quality crops, and a successful dungeon run, Gio's life as a gardener is reaching heights he never imagined. Sifa watches him with a soft expression, acknowledging that his growth is far from ordinary. Her eyes reflect a deep sense of trust. She sees the hidden potential within Gio, a power that even he hasn't fully grasped yet. The next morning, Gio is in high spirits. He meticulously adjusts his bow tie, making sure every detail is perfect for the day ahead. Senna notices the change in his demeanor immediately. She yawns, teasing him about his sharp outfit and asking if he's heading out for a special occasion. Gio confirms his plans while giving Milk a gentle pat. He asks Senna to look after the white wolf for the day, ensuring his companion is in good hands. With a wave and a smile, Gio heads out, warning Senna that he might not be back until the sun goes down. His mind is already racing with possibilities. He imagines a romantic afternoon at a stylish cafe, setting the perfect ambience for his time with Sifa. He simply can't contain his excitement. The prospect of a solo outing with Sifa has him glowing with pure joy. Sifa arrives. She looks breathtaking in her adventurer gear. She greets him with her usual calm elegance, ready to start their day. Gio's heart hammers against his ribs. He apologizes for any wait, but Sifa assures him she only just arrived herself. When he asks where she'd like to go, Sifa reveals she has already given it some thought. She wants to handle the itinerary as a way of thanking him. Gio is internally swooning. Sifa planned a date just for him. He's convinced that today is going to be the best day of his life. However, the destination isn't exactly a romantic cafe. They arrive at the Adventurers Guild, a place that feels more like work than a date. Sifa leads him through the lobby, pointing out the training area and the inn. Gio follows along, trying to maintain his enthusiasm despite the shift in atmosphere. The guild is buzzing with activity. Whispers break out as adventurers recognize Sifa, the famous B-rank warrior, walking through the halls. Gio realizes just how high Sifa's standing is. To everyone else, she's a legendary figure, but to him, she's the girl who planned their day out. Head to the training grounds where the air is thick with the sound of clashing steel. Sifa watches the recruits with a critical eye, emphasizing the need for concentration. The intensity of the training is palpable. Every strike and every parry is a lesson in survival, reminding Gio of the harsh reality of an adventurer's life. Gio is mesmerized. Seeing Sifa in her element is even more impressive than he imagined. Her movements are fluid, precise, and undeniably cool. When other adventurers ask her to train, Sifa politely declines. She makes it clear that she has much more important plans for the rest of her day. Next, they head to Lucas's shop. Gio is surprised to find Annie there, who is equally shocked to see the two of them out together. The light-hearted mood shifts when they encounter a tense situation at a nearby workshop. A shady moneylender is harassing Dennis, the local blacksmith. The man sneers, suggesting that Dennis's client has abandoned him. He's here to collect, and he doesn't care about excuses. Dennis pleads for more time, but the moneylender is finished waiting. He threatens to close down the workshop, a place that has been in Dennis's family for generations. And the man makes a disgusting proposal. He suggests that Dennis hand over his daughter as payment for the debt. The room goes cold. Sifa stands frozen in shock, while Dennis can barely sputter out his outrage at the preposterous demand. Gio can't stay silent. He steps forward, shouting at the man to stop speaking such nonsense. His protective instincts are firing at full capacity. The moneylender glares at Gio with murderous intent. The air crackles with hostility as the two lock eyes in a silent battle of wills. Despite the tension, the man backs off for now. He gives Dennis a final warning. 3 days to scrounge up the money, or the shop is gone. Dennis is devastated. He explains to Gio that he was scammed by a merchant who doesn't even exist, leaving him with a massive debt and no way to pay. Gio knows he has to help. He finds Senna and tells her there's something urgent she needs to see. He reaches into his bag, pulling out a hidden treasure. It's a chunk of raw gold or gleaming with high-tier purity. Senna's eyes widen in disbelief at the sight of such a rare material. She asks if this is really what she thinks it is. Gio confirms it, explaining that his gardener skill allows him to grow more than just plants. When Senna asks if he can grow other ores, Gio doesn't just answer, he shows her. He summons a massive pillar of mithril or towering over them. Senna is ecstatic. With materials like this, they can easily solve Dennis's debt problem. She tells Gio to leave the business side of things to her. Gio breathes a sigh of relief. His unique abilities are once again proving to be a game-changer in this world. They return to the workshop to finalize the plan. Senna introduces herself as a merchant and places a massive order with Dennis to cover his debts. Dennis is stunned but grateful. He grabs Senna's hand in a firm deal, promising to give it his all to fulfill the order and save his family legacy. In the shadows, Marlene watches the group. Her eyes are hidden, but her presence suggests that Gio's actions are drawing more attention than he realizes. But there's no time to rest. A new challenge awaits as the group prepares to venture into the mysterious underwater area, where even greater dangers lurk beneath the surface. As the group ventures into the mysterious underwater area, the landscape shifts to a desolate, rocky shore, hinting at the unknown dangers lurking beneath the surface. Senna checks their vital supplies, asking if they have enough healing potions, while Annie, visibly uneasy, suggests they should simply return home. Sifa, ever the pragmatist, believes their reconnaissance is complete. As they proceed deeper into the treacherous terrain, Senna reminds the group to remain vigilant for their return journey. Sifa, with a calm resolve, confirms they will reinforce their defenses. Suddenly, the ground erupts with a thunderous titom as a colossal, shadowy entity with piercing, glowing eyes bursts forth directly in their path. Annie's face contorts in pure terror, her heart pounding with a frantic BDMP as she stares at the monstrous apparition. Annie, still reeling from the shock, questions how such a massive creature could have materialized without her hunter's senses detecting its presence. Annie screams for them to flee, and Senna, echoing her urgency, realizes with a gasp that the monstrous entity is now relentlessly pursuing them. Colossal shadowy monster opens its massive mouth, a terrifying gape revealing a void capable of swallowing them whole. Sifa observes the unique threat, noting that this creature is unlike anything they encountered in the volcano region. Sifa activates her Empress Authority gift, a power known to weaken enemies. Annie watches, concerned that its effectiveness will be diminished against such a formidable opponent. Shadowy monster shudders, and Annie realizes the critical limitation of Sifa's gift against such a colossal adversary. Senna urgently points, drawing everyone's attention to a new and unexpected development unfolding before them. The colossal creature's shadowy form begins to fragment and dissipate with a schlup sound, leaving Annie utterly bewildered. The truth is revealed. The monstrous entity was not a single massive creature, but a dense, coordinated school of countless small fish. Annie finally understands why her hunter's senses failed. The diffuse presence of countless small fish was impossible to register as a single, powerful threat. Sifa, undeterred, declares her intent to eliminate the entire school of fish in one decisive strike, asserting her dominance over these small fries while promising to provide support. Sifa unleashes a devastating wave of energy, aiming to eradicate the entire swarming mass of fish in a single, overwhelming blow. Despite Sifa's powerful attack, the fish swarm presses forward, impacting Senna and Annie with painful force, eliciting cries of Kyra and ow ow ow. Sifa strains to maintain her gift, realizing the sheer number of fish is overwhelming her ability to control the situation. To their dismay, the fish swarm reforms and rushes back, forcing Senna to brace herself and Sifa to desperately try to reassert her Empress authority. The relentless assault continues, Senna realizing the dire threat to their survival, while Annie cries out in pain from the continuous impacts. Annie's eyes narrow, reflecting the unending swarm, a new resolve hardening in her gaze. From the depths, a massive, predatory shark-like fish with razor-sharp teeth lunges forward, a new and more formidable threat. The narrative shifts to Chapter 13. Senna is the strongest, as Senna, Sifa, and Annie react in surprise to the mention of the Lord. Sifa reveals that they've received an invitation to a grand castle, confirming the news with a cheerful "Yep." Gio, Mina, and Dennis discuss the implications of the invitation, with Gio remarking on the social divide. The Margravine, in the background, notes the economic boom in the region following Gio's recent conquest of the volcanic area. Sifa reminds Gio that his garden remains a strict secret, to which Gio can only mumble in agreement. Sifa decides to research the matter further, noting their upcoming break from the perilous underwater area. Gio, despite the hassle, instructs her to meet at the castle in 5 days. Senna and Annie cheer, delighted at the prospect of a well-deserved break, their faces glowing with excitement. The group departs, with Senna and Sifa confirming their rendezvous in 5 days, a shared understanding passing between them. Senna happily strolls through town, proud of her recent adventuring efforts and looking forward to being spoiled by Gio. Back at Gio's house, Milk stands guard, while Gio remains wary, recalling a past incident despite the apparent calm. Gio paces anxiously, wondering if their previous attackers have given up, then grows concerned as Senna is late. He worries if she's been targeted, asking Milk what they should do. A sudden creak startles Gio and Milk, causing Gio to exclaim in surprise. Milk dashes past Gio, who initially fears the return of their attackers, only for Senna to appear, cheerfully announcing her return. Gio sighs in relief, while Milk seems unusually energetic. Gio notes Senna's lateness, and she explains that a bunch of stuff happened, but she's now on break. Gio reassures a wary Milk, explaining it's just Senna, not an enemy. Senna, sensing the lingering tension, asks if something happened, specifically if an enemy appeared, to which Gio confirms with a simple yeah. Senna is shocked to learn Gio was attacked in the night, immediately asking if he was hurt. Gio explains that Milk and others protected him, and that they slept soundly despite the attack. Senna expresses relief, then asks for details about their assailants. Gio discovers he's learned a new skill, travel between gardens, which also allows him to cultivate new crops. Excited by the possibility of warping, he attempts to activate it, only to be met with a system message that he cannot travel between gardens at this time. Gio is shocked and frustrated, wondering why he can't use the skill. Gio notices something peculiar about his neighboring house. It appears to have shrunk. His eyes widen in disbelief as he dashes towards it, realizing the impossible. Gio stares in utter shock at his now miniature house. Senna exclaims, asking what Gio has done, while Sifa adds, more importantly. Annie, equally stunned, simply shouts wait, as they all try to process the impossible sight. With a series of soft thuds, Gio finds himself standing atop his shrunken house, now a mere island in a vast, unknown sea. His companions, also shrunken, float alongside him, utterly bewildered by their sudden change in scale and environment. Gio, still grappling with the situation, realizes his house is now a traveling garden, allowing instant travel between adventurer gardens. Senna marvels at how handy and tidy it is. Sifa agrees it sounds incredibly useful, and Annie calls it an incredible gift. Gio explains he briefly returned home. Back in his garden, Gio clears his throat as a system message confirms the golems have finished eradicating all the monsters. A giant golem stands proudly, signifying their success. Gio, ever practical, announces that since they are already here, he has brought supplies for a barbecue. Senna, Sifa, and Annie gasp in delight, their eyes wide at the sight of the massive platter piled high with meat and vegetables. Annie eagerly thanks Gio, her eyes sparkling, and declares it's time to dig into the delicious, sizzling meat skewer. Sifa calmly states how tasty the food is, remarking that having a barbecue under the wide-open sky isn't bad at all, while Senna happily munches away. Suddenly, Annie points with an excited gasp, drawing Sifa's attention to something off-panel. Gio's eyes widen in alarm as two massive, enraged bears charge forward, roaring ferociously. He quickly nods to his golem, commanding it to engage, and with a powerful crash, the golem intercepts the attack. Meanwhile, a system notification confirms all monsters were absorbed. Gio wonders if this is good, then gasps as another message declares he's gained many levels, reaching level 31. He contemplates the meaning of his traveling garden skill, which now grants him the castle wall generator skill. With a powerful boom, a massive castle wall erupts around his garden, leaving Gio stunned and exclaiming in wonder at his new ability. Gio stares in awe at the colossal castle wall, remarking on its impressive scale. He muses that these walls might even surpass those of Arsal, a testament to their incredible strength. With a distinct schlup sound, the massive castle walls rapidly shrink and disappear. Gio, finding them unnecessary for a garden, decides to put them away. He then considers that it will soon be time to harvest everything in his first garden, while Milk lets out a soft meow. Sifa watches her soldiers engage the monstrous bears, while Senna shouts encouragement. A soldier exclaims in awe at the sharpness of his weapon, confident he can deal massive damage. The bears roar, and blades clash in a flurry of slashes. A soldier cries out, asking if his comrade is all right after a powerful blow. With a metallic clang, the impact reverberates, but the soldier confirms his shield and armor held up, showcasing the durability of their gear. Commanding soldier orders the magic unit to fire, unleashing a barrage of fireballs. He then shouts for the other soldiers to charge, praising the insane durability of their mithril armor. The monsters groan and roar as the magical assault and melee combat intensify. The Margravine observes the battle, relieved that the soldiers seem to have received the message. Geo, however, is focused on the massive horde of monsters still approaching, realizing they must act quickly to prevent them from breaching the west gate. He declares they need to move at full speed, and Seifer agrees, suggesting they create a defensive wall. With a shuddering crash, the monsters slam into something unseen. Geo, running with Milk, spots the massive monster stampede near the west gate. He realizes he can't worry about it right now, especially with so many soldiers present, as it would be disastrous if they saw his garden. A system notification confirms concealed garden has been deactivated, and one part has been concealed. Geo then wonders if he can conceal himself as well, as a partial system box for Geo's level appears. Geo, with a determined grunt, decides this might be good practice and urges Milk to go. They rush forward amidst the chaos, as monsters roar and smash against the defenses. Geo realizes the gate is seriously damaged, making it difficult to enter the town. Seifer, battling a massive monster, curses the giant bastard as soldiers are ordered to meet the onslaught head-on. Explosions and roars erupt as monsters continue their relentless assault, their powerful blows shaking the ground. Geo and Milk press forward, navigating the chaotic battlefield. The Margravine observes the colossal wall, a feeling of surprise washing over her as she realizes it has grown even taller than before. She marvels at this unexpected development. Behind the formidable barrier, Geo sighs in relief, noting they've come to a stop, but also expresses frustration at being unable to see the ongoing battle due to the wall's height. With a soft schloop, the massive wall shrinks away, revealing Seifer's gasping face as she exclaims, "It shrunk." A colossal monster, straining and trembling, is revealed to still be alive. Geo, watching from a distance, notes with surprise that one of them remains. Seifer and the soldiers face the tenacious elephant-like beast. A soldier notes its resilience, stating that even though the west gate is blocked by the wall, the monster is now smashing against it with its own body, causing immense damage with a powerful borrow and smash. The golems unleash a furious barrage of attacks, delivering powerful whamps, whacks, and bashes against the remaining monsters. After a final smash and thwack, the battle concludes, leaving a field littered with defeated monsters. The Margravine surveys the scene, astonished by the sheer number of strong monsters that had appeared. A soldier explains that despite their strength, the mega golems effortlessly wipe the floor with them, performing exactly as expected. Geo, with a confident smile and a quick salute, announces that the monsters have mostly been taken care of. Geo, standing atop the wall with Milk and a golem, expresses relief that the monster problem is settled and everything worked out. Suddenly, Milk lets out a sharp hiss and jerks back, startling Geo, who asks what's wrong as a crashing sound echoes. Geo's eyes widen in horror as a colossal, monstrous golem is revealed, shaking the ground with its sheer presence. A soldier identifies it as a higher-rank variant, an Atlas golem, confirming their worst fears. Margravine stares in awe at the incredible sight of the Atlas, while a soldier wonders if it's the same golem they thought was Arsal. Another soldier realizes they lack the means to prevent such a colossal beast from invading the city, pleading desperately as their hands clasp in fear. With a resounding hum, Geo's golem clashes with the Atlas atop the city wall. The soldiers can only watch, desperately hoping their golem wins, pleading for it to protect their city and stop the monstrous Atlas. The Atlas strains, pushing Geo's golem back with immense force, a powerful shuov echoing as it gains the upper hand. The Atlas delivers a relentless series of bashes, whamps, and bats, overwhelming Geo's golem. The Atlas roars in triumph as it continues its brutal assault. Geo shudders, a chilling realization dawning on him that if this keeps up, his golem might fall. Unaware of the true peril, the soldiers below cheer wildly, praising the golem and urging it on. The Atlas, however, merely glares, its power still immense. With a devastating crash and a powerful stamp, the Atlas mercilessly crushes Geo's golem, roaring in dominance. It delivers a final bash with a cruel smirk. Geo screams his golem's name in anguish as the colossal Atlas delivers a final, shattering bash, utterly destroying his mechanical protector. The golem lets out pained ack and cock sounds as it crumbles into pieces. The Atlas lets out a deafening, triumphant roar as Geo's golem collapses with a heavy thud, utterly defeated. The soldiers stare in stunned silence, one lamenting that even their mighty golem was no match for the Atlas, exclaiming, "Dear Lord," in despair. With a series of earth-shattering booms, two more colossal Atlas golems emerge, their roars echoing ominously. The sight of multiple such powerful beings sends a wave of dread across the battlefield. Geo points decisively, commanding his remaining golems to get it. With a powerful grab and a devastating smash, the golems launch a coordinated attack on the Atlas. The colossal Atlas finally falls, and a wave of triumphant cheers erupts from the soldiers. They shout woohoo and hooray, celebrating their salvation and exclaiming that the golems actually defeated the mighty Atlas. Soldier reports that the stampede near the west gate has been wiped out and even the monstrous Atlas is dead. The Margravine, however, ponders the recurring nature of golems and wonders who would create such powerful beings, concluding it wasn't one of their own. She then questions who sent them to help as a soldier mentions the hidden garden that was there has vanished. The Margravine denies it while another soldier points out a remaining Atlas. Senna, utterly bewildered, exclaims, "What the hell is going on around here?" with a small eek. Senna explains that the Atlas golems, despite their size, have soft skin and organs that can be processed. She offers to take care of processing all the raw materials, even offering to buy some from Geo, who is surprised and grateful. Senna warns him not to look during the grotesque process, but Geo confidently agrees, thanking her for everything. She promises to be done in an hour and offers further help, while Geo expresses his gratitude, calling her the best. Senna then hands Geo a large sum of money for the materials, minus her processing fee, and a huge magic stone. Geo is astounded by the amount and the fact there are no bloodstains left, wondering how she managed it as he munches on something. Geo, still processing the sheer volume of materials, observes his stream interface. He notes the overwhelming variety of new kinds of crops, realizing he'll struggle to manage and process them all by himself. His thoughts then drift to the upgraded items from his garden, prompting him to check on his crops. A sudden realization flashes across Geo's face as his eyes widen in surprise. Geo's excitement peaks as the system reveals a new item, a monster egg, medium, sparkling with magical energy. Geo recalls acquiring milk from a small monster egg, while Milk gazes intently at the new medium-sized egg, pondering if an even larger monster will hatch from it. Geo stands in his meticulously organized home garden as a system prompt appears, asking if he wishes to cultivate the monster egg, medium. With an enthusiastic yell, Geo accepts, his garden status showing level 43. Medium monster egg is successfully cultivated, now nestled within the fertile soil of Geo's garden, radiating a faint, mystical glow. Geo exclaims at the impressive size of the egg, gently touching its speckled surface, while Milk lets out a curious mew. Geo asks Milk to keep watch over the egg, observing its affectionate nuzzling. He wonders if Milk is already seeing the unhatched creature as a new sibling. Geo, beaming with anticipation, expresses his excitement about the unknown monster that will hatch, entrusting Milk with the important task of guarding the egg. Geo cultivates a spectral flower and cursed grass, while Mina approaches, greeting him with a cheerful hello. As they walk, Geo casually mentions growing some rare crops. Mina then asks if he's harvested the mysterious herb known to ward off monsters. Geo shows Mina the recently harvested cursed grass, explaining its use in making medicinal potions. Mina observes the cursed grass with a slight shiver, commenting on its eerie appearance and the peculiar patterns on its leaves, recalling seeing it in an ancient manual. The intricate, unsettling patterns on the cursed grass leaves are emphasized, reinforcing Mina's observation of their creepy nature. A book opens to a page detailing spectral flowers, revealing ancient knowledge about the rare plant. Mina excitedly explains that spectral flowers are incredibly rare, nearly impossible to find, and are the key ingredient in elixirs. She describes elixirs as mysterious cure-all medicines capable of healing serious wounds, abnormal mental states, and even hereditary diseases. Geo gasps at the mention of elixirs as Mina reveals the ultimate secret. Continuous consumption is rumored to grant immortality. Senna, seemingly skeptical yet intrigued, quips about the possibility of growing fruit that grants immortality next, admitting she isn't sure if such a thing is truly possible. Geo's eyes widen, his face a mask of utter shock as the word immortal escapes his lips. Ina presses Geo on how he acquired such a special herb, to which he playfully responds, "That's a secret." She then adds that spectral flowers are discovered only once every few years, and cursed grass isn't even in any guide, making elixirs incredibly valuable. Mina deduces that Marlene is attempting to craft an elixir. Geo confirms this, but Mina expresses her concern, believing it will be an extremely difficult task. Despite her worries, Mina quickly reassures herself, confident that Marlene's exceptional skill will allow her to succeed in crafting the elixir. Marlene, with unwavering resolve, declares her intention to cultivate the ingredients and create a perfect elixir. Garden bursts with life, now jam-packed with an abundance of cultivated plants, a testament to Marlene's efforts. Milk excitedly circles the cracking egg, reminding Geo of its own hatching. Geo encourages the creature within, then gently calms Milk, who is clearly overjoyed. A peep sound emanates from the cracking shell, revealing a small beak. Geo is startled, realizing a bird monster is about to hatch. Holding the newly hatched, fluffy bird monster, Geo decides to set aside his earlier concerns about its potential size. He then declares that the only thing left is to give their new companion a name, as Milk lets out an approving mew. Geo tries out several names for the chick, like Chiako and Peepers, but Milk's mew suggests disapproval. Geo then asks if Milk prefers something simpler, pondering new options. Gio suggests the name Pippy, and the chick responds with an affirmative peep. Milk, too, expresses its approval with enthusiastic mew mew. Senna arrives, letting out a surprised cry as she spots the new furball and questions what it is. Gio proudly introduces Pippy as the newest member of their family, explaining that it hatched from the monster egg and is, in fact, a bird, not a furball. Senna, delighted, encourages everyone to get along with Pippy. Senna joyfully cuddles Pippy, exclaiming how cute and fluffy it is, as Pippy responds with happy peep-peep sounds. The day proves to be eventful, and as Gio reflects, a serious thought crosses his mind, drawing parallels between current events and a past incident involving Hesea. Gio's eyes narrow in deep concern, a chilling thought forming in his mind. If the current situation is connected to the past, then dire consequences might follow. In a bustling town square, a group of thugs reports their failure to their leader, Volca, admitting they couldn't defeat their targets in the dungeon. Volca reacts with furious disbelief at the news of their failed assault. The thugs try to explain their failure, reasoning that their target was a B-rank adventurer, making it inherently difficult to overpower her by force. The shadowy figure, Volca, explodes in a fit of rage, demanding to know how a group of hardened gang members failed to defeat mere girls. Volca's menacing laughter echoes as he sarcastically questions if his plan was flawed, terrifying his trembling subordinates. A system notification confirms his extreme fury. Volca declares it's time for a new, perfect plan, as his subordinates obediently respond, "Yes, sir." Volca reveals a powerful magic item, the Bracelet of Control. He explains that whoever wears it cannot defy the orders of the person wearing its counterpart. It's a rare, single-use item he acquired from the black market. His subordinates gulp in apprehension. Volca holds up the glowing bracelet of servility, instructing his men to place it directly onto their target. Pondering the best material for a new sword, Gio considers mithril, asking if it would be the strongest choice. Senna confidently affirms mithril's superior strength. Gio then muses about the potential for magic buffs, seeking to enhance its power even further. Gio expresses surprise at the mithril's appearance, finding it peculiar. Senna quickly corrects him, exclaiming, "You've got it backwards." She explains that the mithril he produced in the garden was faintly glowing and pretty because it was of lower quality, causing its mana to emit a visible glow. Gio, holding the non-glowing mithril, realizes the implication, prompting Senna to declare with excitement, "It's 100% pure mithril. It's something that can't be obtained in nature." Gio simply utters as Senna lets out a startled, high-pitched shriek. She recoils dramatically from Gio, who seems to have playfully poked her. Gio quickly apologizes, while Senna, flustered and defensive, insists she's not a weirdo. She nervously explains that she only came to see Sifa, leaving Gio to question, "Sifa?" Senna clarifies that Sifa is currently out on an adventure. Gio, visibly stunned, wonders if Senna truly was a weirdo. Senna, with a hurried "Thank you, excuse me," dashes away, leaving Gio bewildered. Senna, lost in thought, remembers her resolve. "I became an adventurer just to go on adventures with you." Gio and another adventurer share a knowing look, with the adventurer remarking, "Geez, don't make me say it." Senna's excitement is palpable as she exclaims, "This is the best." Gio then observes a group of adventurers, including Senna, Annie, and Sifa, wondering, "Oh, are those two? And those two over there, possibly?" Senna is mortified, thinking to herself, "I'm totally useless. I also look at men with such rotten eyes. I don't only like muscles, but I want to stop this habit, but I just can't." Suddenly, Annie and Sifa greet her. Sifa cheerfully says, "Long time no see," and adds, "Your long trip must have been tiring." Annie concurs with a yeah. In a flurry of panic, Senna frantically tries to correct herself. "That's right, muscles. I only like muscles. It's not like I was fantasizing about men being in love." Annie confronts Senna, asking if she was excited about muscles again. Senna reacts with a startled HWH, clearly caught off guard. Senna, still flustered, asks, "Who are you? Where are the muscles?" Annie interjects, offering to introduce her. Senna then proudly introduces Sifa as our childhood friend, highlighting her as an outstanding vanguard. Annie then introduces Sarasa the mage, adding that despite her youthful appearance, she's actually 23. Sarasa reflects on her self-perceived shortcomings, thinking, "Even though magic is my only redeeming quality, and I constantly mess up due to my nerves," she acknowledges that Sifa and Annie still took me in, despite her anxieties. Sarasa expresses her reluctance, repeatedly exclaiming, "I don't wanna." The group, including Gio, Sifa, Annie, and Senna, gathers. The scene shifts to a title card, Chapter 23, Traveling with the Home Garden. Gio questions the relevance of a home garden to their adventure. Sarasa appears hesitant, while Senna eagerly anticipates the possibilities. Gio nods in understanding. Suddenly, Senna's stomach growls loudly, prompting her to sheepishly admit, "That was my stomach." Senna, with a point, suggests they should eat some of the produce from the garden. Gio agrees. Sarasa looks shy. Gio claps his hands, proposing they eat first before continuing their discussion. He offers to make a good meal using vegetables from his garden, delighting the girls. Gio proudly presents his cooked meal, which impresses everyone. Sarasa exclaims, "This is amazing." Sifa agrees, finding the food incredible. Gio explains it's from his garden, making Senna incredibly happy. Gio, reflecting, thinks he wanted to be an adventurer. Sarasa secretly admires Gio's culinary skills, while Annie considers him pretty incredible. Sarasa then wonders if a man who can cook would be great. Sarasa's thoughts race, recalling Gio's heroic acts, his family, and his cooking talents, concluding he's truly amazing. She observes Gio surrounded by adoring girls, realizing his immense popularity. Sarasa, however, firmly states her disinterest in harems, expressing a comedic rejection. Gio admits he never considered using his skill beyond his own land. Senna, eating a dumpling, suggests that if he can figure out how to use it skillfully, it should make their long trip much more comfortable, to which Gio replies, "Really?" Sifa counts down dramatically 1, 2, 3 as she prepares to sync up with the driver. Gio watches intently. The carriage wheel begins to turn, and the horse's hooves clip-clop, kicking up dirt as it starts to move. The traveling garden is successfully activated, transforming the carriage. Sarasa exclaims in wonder, while Senna expresses her joy. Annie notes the bumpy ride, but Gio assures her it's normal. Senna, delighted, points out the benefits, so we don't have to worry about food or a bed. Gio confirms this is all thanks to his traveling garden. Senna enthusiastically praises Gio, calling him amazing, and her revolutionary big bro. Sifa adds that it was actually her and Annie's idea. Senna then joyfully suggests, "Now then, let's go home right away." Gio, with a gentle smile, agrees, "Yeah." A sinister figure erupts in maniacal laughter. "BWHHHHHA," he declares with absolute certainty. "This time, I'll catch that woman for sure." He reveals his cunning plan, born from a humiliating defeat, stating, "I've incited the bandits to attack them." The Margravine and her knight stand before an invisible barrier. The knight comments on the sheer scale of the place, finding it hard to believe it was created so quickly. The Margravine confirms the existence of an invisible wall surrounding the clearing, preventing their entry, a detail also noted in their report. The Margravine questions if it's a barrier. A knight admits they couldn't use their alchemy to investigate the area. The Margravine expresses regret at not being able to explore it. A knight suggests going around the wall, but the Margravine dismisses the idea. The knight then decides to test the barrier, throwing a rock. With a cunning smile, the Margravine proposes a bold solution. "If this is really a wall, how about we climb it?" Margravine begins to ascend the invisible wall, wondering what lies beyond this point. Her eyes widen in astonishment as she gazes upon a vast expanse, exclaiming, "This is a giant farm." She realizes the entire farm is completely invisible from the outside. A formidable golem launches an attack, forcing the Margravine and her knights to swiftly retreat. Elsewhere, Milk, the faithful companion, is seen peeking out from behind some fruit, letting out a soft mew as a small chick accompanies it. A knight anxiously asks the Margravine if she is alright after the powerful impact, likening it to an earthquake. She confirms her safety. The Margravine explains that fighting a golem of that size would be no easy task, making continued investigation difficult. A knight questions if ignoring the situation poses a threat to the domain. The Margravine reassures them, stating the golem didn't pursue them beyond the wall, implying safety as long as no one crosses it. The mysterious wall and golem remain a perplexing enigma. The narrator recounts how the Margravine saved everyone back then. However, it was confirmed that Sifa and her party were present in the dungeon during the commotion. The Margravine still harbors many unanswered questions about the mysterious farm. The Margravine stands tall, raising a hand in a gesture of resolve, her expression firm and determined. The Margravine declares with certainty that she believes they are hiding something. She asserts that until she uncovers the truth, she can't declare it safe for anyone. Dennis explains that the Arsal dungeon has recently boomed in popularity, leading to an increase in adventurer guests. As a result, their small town is struggling to keep up with demand and has been running low on food. Gio eagerly asks if he can supply them with food. With a dramatic flourish, he conjures an immense pile of fresh produce, astonishing the onlookers. Gio then innocently asks, "Will this be enough?" Senna and Sarasa react with utter shock, with Senna exclaiming, "I knew it!" Dennis, recognizing Gio's actions, hails him as a merchant, while Gio, glad he kept his preservation skill, expresses his happiness to help. Senna and Sarasa are flustered by the sheer quantity of food, finding it overwhelming. Gio confidently declares the food extremely fresh. A man, still reeling from the abundance, asks if it's truly enough. Gio replies, "No, we should be thanking you even more." The townspeople, bewildered, call him a good-natured dummy for not considering the consequences. Gio, smiling brightly, dismisses it as no big deal and waves goodbye, leaving the townspeople in stunned silence. Senna scolds Gio, asking, "How many times am I going to have to tell you to be careful about revealing your gift before it finally sticks?" Gio defends himself, stating, "I didn't have any choice. They were in trouble." Sarasa expresses concern that some bad people might come after you because of his actions. Senna questions if Gio obtained the 100% pure mithril from Laruka for cheap, which Gio confirms. Gio then admires a mithril sword, stating he's sure she'll be thrilled. Dennis comments that it would have been great if Senna and Sifa hadn't been away, implying they could have finished it sooner. Sifa, Sarasa, Annie, and Senna enter a bustling adventurers guild or tavern, with Sifa politely greeting, "Hello." Inside, Dennis examines a quest board, while another person attends the counter. Sarasa asks if there's an enchanter mage in town, while Senna expresses frustration. Dennis mentions hearing about a commotion at the tavern, then asks if there's anyone like that in the surrounding town. The tavern owner reluctantly reveals a traveling mage who guzzled down all the alcohol they had. Sarasa suggests they go look for this traveling mage, believing she might be a better mage than me. The scene then reveals the traveling mage, with a sharp look in her eyes and scantily clad. She lets out a loud URP, and then a disgusted Bielidich, clearly intoxicated. Gio reacts with a shocked WH. The traveling mage, now identified as Miranda, groans as she slowly comes to, admitting she drank so much that she got sick last night. Senna exclaims at Miranda's casual behavior, treating the shop like her own home, while Gio firmly states his disapproval of such disrespect. Annie winces, finding Miranda's sloppiness off-putting. Gio then questions the mage's actual skill, wondering about the high-level light magic she wields, a rare ability even among the Magic Academy's elite. Sifa ponders if Miranda is truly a master mage. Miranda introduces herself with a confident smirk, offering to hear out their request as thanks for their care. However, her immediate demand for a pick-me-up leaves Gio flustered, as he realizes they have no more alcohol. Miranda, undeterred, declares she'll drink more, letting out an excited cheer. Suddenly, a barrel materializes from nowhere, as water gushes from a tree trunk, seemingly providing a new source of refreshment. Gio observes the convenient appearance, hoping the contents will taste good. Senna lets out a small sound of surprise as Miranda, observing Senna's attire, asks why she's bothering to look at her when she's a mage herself. Annie then presents the mithril sword they wish to have buffed. Miranda gasps, realizing the sword is made of pure mithril, acknowledging the immense responsibility involved in buffing such a rare item, retracting her earlier casual attitude. Gio asks if she can do it. Miranda savors the taste of the beer, feeling generous. She then dramatically declares that if anyone can beat her in a drinking contest, she will provide powerful buffs for the mithril sword for free. The group is stunned, realizing her true motive is simply to drink more, as she laughs maniacally and states she doesn't mind who joins. Sifa, with a stoic expression, firmly grabs Annie's arm, silently forbidding her from participating in the ill-advised drinking contest. Annie gently rouses Senna, informing her they have arrived. The group overlooks Moria village, the remote settlement tormented by a wyvern, now eerily silent and deserted. As the group walks through the deserted village, Annie suggests they find the mayor who made the request. Gio notes the unusual silence and lack of any residents. Suddenly, the mayor appears, excitedly greeting them as the adventurers from Arsal, confirming he has been waiting for their arrival. Sifa reminds Gio that with his unique gift, he can instantly escape if danger arises. She then tells him they are counting on him. Gio nods in understanding as the group dashes out of the village, a dark, ominous shadow of the wyvern passing overhead. Senna points out that taking this path is faster than walking, allowing them to conserve their strength. Annie, however, senses a sinister aura emanating from the summit, signaling impending danger. Senna explains that most wyverns are relatively small, with even the largest only reaching 4 to 5 meters in length, referencing the daily livestock disappearances. Senna questions how a typical wyvern could possibly carry something as heavy as several hundred kilograms of livestock through the air. Gio, confused, asks for clarification, realizing the implications of her statement. Annie, with a confident smile, asserts that everything will be fine as long as they simply kill the creature. Gio gasps in disbelief at Annie's casual comparison, as the ominous SHHFF of wings signals the arrival of the true beast. A colossal wyvern descends, letting out a terrifying roar, its sheer size dwarfing anything they expected. Gio shudders in terror, questioning if this monstrous creature is truly a mere wyvern. Senna nervously admits they have a problem, while Sifa notes the wyvern's horrifying size. The beast lets out another terrifying roar, lunging forward with incredible speed. Annie, undeterred, activates Flying Blade, attempting to cut the creature down, but the wyvern swiftly dodges the attack, proving its immense agility. Sifa, with a determined gaze, prepares to engage the wyvern, but Senna stops her, reminding her that she has already expended enough energy. Senna channels her power, unleashing Lightning Strike, a potent lightning spell that crackles with immense energy as it surges towards the wyvern. Annie stands over the downed wyvern, but the beast stirs, letting out a guttural growl. Annie warns that it's still dangerous, realizing the lightning strike wasn't enough to finish it. Gio and Senna watch in horror as the wyvern suddenly snaps, grabbing Annie. The beast roars, then violently throws Annie away, sending her crashing to the ground. Exhausted but relieved, the group confirms the wyvern is finally dead. Annie cheers, celebrating their victory. Gio, however, points out that Senna and Sifa barely had a chance to contribute to the fight. Senna begins to reveal a secret she didn't want to tell Gio. Gio's eyes widen in shock as a system notification confirms his worst fear. He can see my home garden. A mysterious figure stands in the distance, observing them. The mysterious figure, Volca, smirks, realizing the potential of Gio's unique ability. He muses that he might be able to present this mysterious power to his boss as a valuable souvenir. Sifa recognizes Volca as the strange man who visited her during the bracket fiasco, a realization that immediately alarms Gio. Senna exclaims that this means he's a hostile force, part of the group targeting Sifa. Annie's heart pounds as she realizes the gravity of the situation, confirming that this is indeed very bad. Senna, realizing the implications of Volca discovering Gio's home garden, warns that they will now be targeted. She firmly states that they should confront him immediately. However, Gio and Annie are shocked by her sudden aggression, with Gio beginning to question her intent. A massive, scaly hand suddenly lunges out, seizing Volca in its powerful grip. Volca is hoisted into the air by the colossal red dragon, his surprise turning to anger as he berates the beast for daring to snatch him, a lowly creature challenging a great lizard. The dragon glares down at Milk, who is also present. Gio swiftly scoops up Senna and carries her away from the immediate danger, making a desperate dash for safety. Gio and Senna continue their frantic escape, a wyvern still circling overhead. They glance back, witnessing the chaos unfold. Finally, the group, including Milk, collapses onto the ground, safe for now, realizing they've narrowly escaped the immediate threat. Senna agrees that it's easier to execute during battle, but Annie points out that building up a significant amount of mana takes considerable time. Gio, deep in thought, considers limiting the dragon's movement with Kargara's lightning and then having Annie attack with wind magic, but hesitates. Sifa agrees it would be the best approach if possible. Gio devises a plan. He could teleport them to another garden after Kargara builds her mana, allowing her to cast her powerful spell before the dragon flies too high. He then suggests launching a surprise attack. Senna gasps in realization, while Annie agrees that the plan might work, finding it less daunting than previous options. Gio, confident in their strategy, affirms he understands the situation. Gio acknowledges that the red dragon is likely already on the move, which complicates their plan. With a determined stomp, he declares he will go to the other garden and move it himself. Senna, however, expresses her concern, asking if he truly intends to do something so dangerous all by himself. Gio confirms he understands the task. Senna, with a tense expression, resolves that this is the perfect job for her, accepting the responsibility. Gio cautions Senna and Sifa to be careful, to which Senna replies affirmatively. Sifa instructs Gio to return immediately if the situation becomes too dangerous. With a flash of light, Gio activates his teleportation ability, vanishing in a powerful swoop to carry out his mission. Volca curses his misfortune, questioning why things have turned out this way as he remains clutched in the red dragon's grasp. He realizes he's barely dodging its attacks, knowing he'll be dead meat if he gets caught again. Volca, surrounded by the group, speculates that they must have abandoned him, believing they were too terrified of the red dragon to intervene. He cynically concludes that it was a convenient way for them to dispose of their pursuer. Volca's eyes widen in shock as he spots Gio and Annie, who are hiding nearby. Annie curses, realizing Volca noticed them, questioning why they followed him here. Gio quickly shushes her, emphasizing the need for silence. Gio then whispers their intention, to save him, promising their aid. After Gio's whispered promise to Volca, Sifa, with a determined glint in her eyes, affirms their commitment, declaring, "We can do it," as she gestures for them to advance. "Let's go." The team stands united before the colossal red dragon, with Senna enthusiastically confirming their readiness for battle. As the battle begins, a blinding light erupts from the dragon, momentarily confusing the ancient beast, making it question, "What, a light?" Senna channels her full power, activating a potent lightning attack, crackling with raw energy as she charges forward, declaring, "Let's go, full power." Annie exclaims in disbelief at their sudden elevation on Gio's floating platform, questioning, "This is crazy. What? We're so high up. Gio, what's going on?" Gio wryly admits, I was afraid something out of the ordinary would be the result." Observing the dragon's labored breathing, Gio recognizes its vulnerability, declaring, "Now, we can fight the red dragon. I can't imagine it can keep using that dragon breath multiple times in a row. Now's our chance to take it out." Annie, fueled by determination, readies her weapon, affirming her readiness to join the offensive, exclaiming, "Now you are talking." With a swift swoop, Annie targets the dragon's eyes, unleashing a blinding lightning attack, declaring, "I'll blind it." That elicits a pained triple-H roar from the beast. Annie's weapon connects with a resounding thud, causing the dragon to recoil with a ragh in agony from the impact. The dragon lets out a guttural grrrAA as cracks spiderweb across its scales, revealing the severity of the damage inflicted. The colossal dragon crashes down, defeated, as the team erupts in shouts of victory, celebrating Annie's incredible feat with a collective AAA. "She did it. It worked. Whack!" A menacing figure, Volca, steps from the shadows amidst a pile of bones, his voice cutting through the air, demanding to know, "What do you think you're doing?" Enraged, Volca launches a furious assault on the fallen dragon, railing at the stupid beast for ruining his plans, declaring, "Your prey's right out here." Gio instinctively pulls Senna out of harm's way, exclaiming, "Whoa, Senna!" while Annie quickly realizes Volca's reckless attack is merely distracting the still struggling dragon, stating, "He's distracting the dragon." Annie praises Gio's quick thinking in saving Senna, exclaiming, "Oh, Gio, nice catch, thank goodness." She then urges the team to strike again, recognizing that Volca's distraction has left the dragon vulnerable and at death's door. With a plea to Senna, "Hit it again." Annie, with renewed resolve, unleashes her flying blade attack, declaring, "The end," as she delivers the final, decisive blow to the dragon, adding, "You were too tough." With a final, earth-shattering crash, the colossal dragon collapses, its defeat absolute. The red dragon is finally defeated, and Volca, the abductee, is safe. Sifa commends their efforts, stating, "You did a great job," though Annie admits she's still scared stiff now after everything. Gio stares at his formidable companions, a mixture of exasperation and admiration evident in his bewildered expression, thinking, "These girls." Gio sternly informs Volca that they will escort him back to town and hand him over to the Arsal soldiers. Volca's face contorts into a defiant glare, refusing to accept his fate quietly. With a sigh of defeat, Volca raises his hands in surrender, conceding, "Fine, I give up." Sifa, with unwavering resolve, declares her intention to confront the boss alone and settle the matter herself, a reckless decision that shocks Gio and Annie into protesting. "What? That's crazy. What are you talking about, Sifa? It's beyond reckless to barge in there alone when you're the one they want." Senna, Annie, and Marlene immediately step forward, emphatically insisting that they will accompany Sifa, with Senna declaring, "I'll work hard for you, Sifa. We're obviously going with you," and Annie adding, "Me too." Sifa, burdened by guilt, expresses her reluctance to endanger her friends further, acknowledging, "I don't want you to get dragged into this any more than you already have. Even so, I don't want to put you in danger for my sake. It's the gang's fault all this happened." Sifa reiterates her desire to prevent further harm, her words echoing with a protective sentiment, stating, "Who needs to get hurt?" as Gio observes her resolve. The enraged boss, weary of delays, lashes out at his subordinates, threatening to replace Volca and demanding they get to work, immediately roaring, "What are you just standing around for?" Two thugs nervously discuss their boss's escalating rage, attributing it to Volca's recent lack of success in generating income, noting, "Yeah, well, he hasn't been making any money lately. The boss is in a pretty bad mood." The thug idly wishes, if only treasure would rain from the sky. A massive golem suddenly crashes down from the sky with a whoosh, shocking everyone with its unexpected arrival, making them exclaim, "A golem!" Panic erupts as more golems rain down from above, a relentless barrage falling from the sky, making the thugs scream, "No, boss, there's more." The hideout is engulfed in chaos as golems continuously boom down, triggering widespread screams of terror from the thugs, with cries of "Jhhhhh, whack!" Sifa watches in awe at Gio's incredible display of power, thinking, "Gio, this is incredible. I had no idea he could do something like this." While Annie expresses relief that Sifa didn't act recklessly, Gio, seeing the chaos, plans to capitalize on the situation. Gio quickly detects the boss attempting to dash from the hideout, exclaiming, "I sense the boss fleeing the hideout. That's the boss." While the boss himself rages at the unexpected monster attack, shouting, "Damn it, those blasted monsters. What the hell's going on?" Gio realizes with alarm that if the boss escapes, Sifa will still be in danger, thinking, then Sifa will still be in danger. Senna unleashes a powerful lightning attack, striking the fleeing boss with a resounding bash and halting his escape, making him exclaim, "Wah, now there's lightning." Boss lies incapacitated, Senna standing triumphant, her mission accomplished. Gio and Senna reflect on their initial summons to meet the regional lord, speculating on the true reason for their visit, which seemed to involve a dragon, with Gio saying, yep, maybe she wants to bargain for something, a dragon or something, and Senna adding, you and Sifa were summoned to meet the regional lord. I guess it was all a misunderstanding. Gio, hoping for a peaceful meal, bids Annie farewell as he heads to his garden, recalling their previous mission to investigate the dungeon and report back to the regional lord of the region, thinking, this time, things are different, overthinking won't help, I guess I'll just head to the garden. Gio watches in utter amazement as his chick, Pippy, rapidly grows and evolves before his very eyes, exclaiming, you're growing, Pippy. Gio, still dazed by Pippy's growth, is found by Senna, who's surprised by his early return, asking, oh, there you are, Gio. You're back pretty early. Annie then bursts in, overwhelmed, urging Gio to drop everything and just shut up and come on. Everything's too much. The source of Annie's panic is immediately clear. The colossal volcanic area boss, a monstrous reptilian entity, erupts into view with a deafening THOM, its sheer presence overwhelming the senses. The massive beast crashes forward with immense power, its movements shaking the very ground. A wave of desperation washes over Annie, who questions what they can possibly do against such a formidable foe. Amidst the chaos, Sifa calmly takes charge, outlining a unified strategy. She declares that with Senna spearheading their tactics, they will combine their strengths to bring the boss down. Sifa's confidence shines through as she asserts their current strength is sufficient to overcome the beast. Senna, though letting out a small ugh of exasperation, diligently prepares, ensuring they have an abundance of ice-cold potions to prevent running dry mid-battle. Despite her initial reluctance, Senna resigns herself to the impending fight, muttering that there's no other option. She then takes a deep gulp of a potion, rallying her spirits with the promise of a grand feast once they triumph over the monstrous boss. With renewed resolve, Annie draws her blade with a sharp SHH, while Senna and Sifa share a determined nod. Sifa then activates her formidable Empress's Authority skill, which simultaneously buffs allies and debuffs enemies, as Annie dashes forward, signaling the immediate start of their coordinated assault.